You're listening to the Third Down Squad podcast, the best international news podcast for the National Football League. We're your hosts, Derek, Josh, and Toby. Let's get you ready for a new set of downs on Sunday.
Welcome to the Third Down Squad podcast, the Super Bowl edition. I am Josh, and this is Toby. And we are missing one Derek Larger today. He had something to take care of, and he won't be with us today. So you just got the two of us. Congratulations. So what do we have for you today? The results of the championship games, both the AFC and the NFC, and the awful official calling, which I think Toby will get into later because I think that he has a justification for why. And our Super Bowl predictions and a few fun bets for you. So sit down, have a nice cold drink, or if you're driving, don't drink and just enjoy the show. So Toby, the AFC and NFC championship games. All right, before we get to the big one, what'd you think of the AFC championship game?
The Patriots deserved the win. They were kind of running away with the game in the first three quarters. Kansas City didn't have an answer for them in the first three quarters of the game, and then came back in the fourth quarter, kind of surprisingly for me. But I mean, in that game, the Patriots really deserved the win. They played a really good game of football there. They were dominating. They looked like the old Patriots of the years before. I know I've said it in the regular season that the Patriots don't look like themselves, especially Tom Brady. But, I mean, they're now in their January form. And, yeah, that's... Never underestimate the Patriots. They're back in the Super Bowl. I mean, I'm getting tired of them being in the Super Bowl, but that's how it is. But, yeah, that game, I mean, they had it all. They had a good defense. They played well against that power offense with Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and all the other guys in Kansas City. And they had a great offense themselves. I mean, Tom Brady is getting out the ball so fast in the playoffs right now. I think he has 2.42 seconds that he needs to get the ball out of his hands in the playoffs right now. In the regular season, I think it was somewhere around 2.7 seconds, which was already fifth in the league this year, which is kind of ridiculous for a guy that is, and I'm sorry for saying this again, I know everybody's tired of it, for a guy that is 41 years of age. And yeah, it's just, they have a great offense, passing-wise and running-wise. I mean, they have three running backs that can carry that ball around. And it really surprised me that actually Rex Burkhead got the ball for the deciding touchdown in that game. I mean, the guy came back from injury, but yeah, you know Bill Belichick, he likes the underdog white guy that nobody expects to play. And yeah, it paid off for them. But yeah, Josh, what do you think of the AFC Championship game?
I think that the Patriots played a phenomenal game. There's no doubt about it. They were just marching down the field. They knew exactly what to do, and nobody was going to stop them. The only thing that stopped the Chiefs was going into overtime. Because I think that if you gave Mahomes the ball one more time, the Chiefs would be going to the Super Bowl. But that's just the way the coin falls, you know? Not to make making a pun on that situation, but anyway, back to the game. I just think that the Patriots, they're just unstoppable in January, like you said. I mean, they just play their absolute best, and look at what it's done for them. They made it to 3 consecutive Super Bowls. Now, my biggest thing with that game was just a few of the blown calls, but with the Julian Edelman muffed punt, I didn't even see enough evidence that it actually hit his thumb to justify it being a muff. So I was all right with that one. But the Kevin Hogan one, I believe that's his name, Kevin Hogan.
Yeah, Chris Hogan.
Chris Hogan, yes. Kevin Hogan was the quarterback for the Browns. Yeah. But I think that ball kind of hit the ground like a little bit, you know. But then the offsides penalty on the D Ford, that's really what did it. The Chiefs had the game, but he lined up wrong. It was a common mistake, but you got to watch out for that. And
especially in an important game like that.
yeah. So the Patriots, for as good as they are, they also got bailed out by minuscule mistakes by the Chiefs. But do they deserve to be in the Super Bowl? I think so. I think this could be their last one because the Brady Belichick era started with the Rams and it could end with the Rams. So we don't know how this is going to play out after the end of the game. But that does it for the AFC Championship game. Toby, it's time to talk about the NFC game, and I'm pretty sure there's a salt mine right behind your door there.
Yeah, and I'm actually gonna apologize to everybody who's listening to this in advance, because my language in this segment might not only be, but it will be for a mature audience. But yeah, let's start. Okay, first off, the Saints in the first half were dominating this game. I know there were a couple of mistakes they made, especially in the red zone with the 2 opening field goals. And I mean, that drop pass by Dan Arnold for the first drive, it was disappointing, but give him some slack. He's only the 3rd string tight end on the Saints, and I mean, they missed Benjamin Watson in that game, and it really sucked. And you saw that they missed him in this game for Drew Brees to have another target other than Michael Thomas, who the Rams really did a great job of covering him and not allowing him to have that big game that they needed from him. But a lot of other guys stepped up otherwise, with Ted Ginn Jr. and all the other young receivers they have. And yeah, the Rams came back. Johnny Hacker had that fake punt, which was really gutsy from Sean McVay to call a fake punt in that situation. But it's the same that what the Saints did in the divisional round against the Eagles, which sparked their comeback against the Eagles with a fake punt, and the same with the Rams in the conference championship. And well, then came the second half and the refs. First off, in the fourth quarter, there was already a pass interference that should have been called against Robbie Coleman, which was not called in the Rams territory. It was not the one against Tommy Lee Lewis. It was even before that, and the Saints have to punt after that as well, which would have otherwise might have resulted in points for the Saints, which already sucked. And then we were at about 2 minutes left in the game at the, I believe it was about the 20-yard line for the Rams. And there came Robbie Coleman again. And I mean, what the actual fuck was that? The ball wasn't even near Tommy Lee Lewis, and he already was on the ground on his ass, and the ball just blew past him, and the refs called it incomplete. And I mean, first of all, how do you not get together after that fucking play and discuss what just happened, if it was a pass interference call or not, and just call it incomplete without even discussing it? And there were actually 2 refs standing right next to the players, and they didn't see that the hit was, I don't know how early it was, because like I said, the ball wasn't anywhere near close to the receiver at the time. I mean, sure, at a bang bang play, you can miss that as a ref, but I mean, it took a solid second at least that the ball was actually near somewhere, the players, when both of them were already lying on the ground. How, I'm asking you, can you blow that call? And I think you can see I'm mad about this. I was mad about last year against Minnesota, but that was on the Saints themselves. But this year, for them to have the Super Bowl taken away from them by such a bad call by those refs is mind blowing to me. I was actually standing in front of my TV. I was almost throwing a football through my TV at that point. And yeah, I mean, after that, yeah, the Saints were mad. You could see that they were kind of out of their rhythm because everybody in that stadium, even the Rams sideline, saw that it was a pass interference call. And I think that kind of got to the Saints, which allowed the Rams to drive down the field and score the tying field goal, which actually was a long one, and I'm gotta give it to Greg Sirlein to hit a 57-yarder in that situation. That's not easy to do, and I mean, after what we saw from the kickers this year, I was really hoping that he'd not hit that field goal from that far away. But yeah, then came the overtime, and actually, if you're looking at the play by Drew Brees, the interception by, I believe it was Johnson that had the interception on Drew Brees in overtime, you could kind of argue that that play might have also been pass interference by the defense, because he was just standing in the way and kind of blocking Michael Thomas from completing his route to the football. Because when you look at it, where that ball came down, it was nowhere near close where defenders stood there. And Michael Thomas was kind of forced to run into the defender, which was hindering him from completing his route, which, from my understanding of the rules, is a defensive pass interference. And to be that lucky son of a bitch to fall right there where the ball comes down and hitting you right in the hands, I don't know how lucky you gotta be, but that's what happened. And I mean, they scored, and now the Rams are in the Super Bowl. And yeah, I mean, me as a Saints fan, like I said, I am mad about it. It's 2 weeks after. I'm still mad about it. I think you can hear that from the tone of my voice, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it on my face. But yeah, that's my opinion on the Super Bowl, or not the Super Bowl, the conference championship, the NFC one. But yeah, Josh, you kind of have a neutral view on this game, so
Yeah.
give us your opinion on it.
All right. I'm completely 100 with you. That was the most blatant example of what pass interference is. If you open up the rule book in the NFL and it says pass interference, you're going to see that picture right next to make sure you call this. You know, the Saints had it won. And the referees, as always, you know, when you least expect it, they end up going in the other team's favor. I don't know if it's Roger Goodell. I'm not gonna put my tinfoil hat on this time, but I guarantee you Roger Goodell had something where he's like, all right, we're going to have Boston and LA play for the, Super Bowl. What was the most famous rivalry in all of basketball? The Lakers and the Celtics, both in Boston and Los Angeles. So is there a big city conspiracy theory because New Orleans and the Chiefs are such a small market? Who knows? But anyway, conspiracy theories aside, back to the game. The Saints deserved that win. And, I mean, they did everything in their power to keep everybody in check. And they played like they actually really wanted. I mean, that's not to take anything away from Drew Brees, but he looked like he was just on target, as always. Just wanted to make sure that he carried his team. The running game still needed to be a little bit worked out. I mean, there's still problems with the running game, but they were getting there. But the Rams, I mean, they still played fine, even though like Anderson and Gurley were here and there, you know. They weren't too big of a threat. But this also brings up new overtime rules, possibly, you know, like they do in college football, where in college football, if you score or you get a field goal, the opposing team gets a chance to score. And if they don't, then the team that scored wins. And it keeps going until there's a winner. That's why you get games that go all the way to like 7 OTs in football. So I always was a fan of that, but I just don't like how it's like, oh, they scored a touchdown, you win, just like how
Yeah.
the Patriots did. So they need to fix that. I doubt they will, but they need to. And like I said, like you said, Toby, I think that there was a little bit of pass interference on that one throw from Drew Brees that got picked off by Johnson, where Michael Thomas, I believe it
Yeah.
was it Michael Thomas? Yeah, where he looked like he got tangled up with the cornerback, and the ball got tipped up and it just fell into Johnson's hands. And you can't really control that, but it was just right there too.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at it, they weren't tangled up. It was a pick route which is fine with me when it's inside the first 5 yards where you can have contact with the player. But that was, I don't know, 20 yards down the field. That's not where you can initiate contact with the receiver. That, for me, that's not as clear as a pass interference, but if you're going by the rules, that's pass interference.
Yeah. But not as blatant as pass interference as the blown call that's going to haunt Saints fans for the rest of their lives for what
Yes,
could
it
have
will.
been. All right. Now that we set our piece on that one and Toby vented in a proper manner, let's get to something fun. Let's get to those over-unders for the Super Bowl, Toby. What do you got for us?
Let's go on the over-unders. We have some prop bets for the Super Bowl, which are actually up at Las Vegas and all the betting sites online. For Super Bowl 53, like we said already, it's between the New England Patriots and the LA Rams. So first off, we have the total gross passing yards by Tom Brady, which are at over 295.5 or under, with odds at -110. So Josh, what do you think? Tom Brady over or under 295.5?
I'm going to say over. Because in the last Super Bowl, he had like 500 yards or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say over 295.
Yeah, I'm also going with the over. Basically because of the defensive backfield by the LA Rams, and if you're looking at it, they are good at defending the shorter passes, which the Patriots are kind of known for. But I feel like Bill Belichick knows that, and he has the perfect game plan for Tom Brady to hit that medium distance pass, not that long distance pass, which Tom Brady is not really known for, but kind of that, I'd say, 10 to 15 yard pass, which the Rams are kind of struggling with. So I feel like Tom Brady is gonna pass a bunch, especially to Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan. I'd see a Gronkowski game, kind of like against Kansas City, where he kind of showed up for the first time this year. So I'm also going with the over on that one.
Yep.
And now we're going on the other side. Todd Gurley, over under passing yards, with the over under at 285.5. Odds are as well as -110. Over under,
so
Josh.
Is this Jared Goff?
Yeah, Jared Goff.
You said Todd Gurley before, but
Jared Goff. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, that's all right. I'm gonna also put him over. I think he can do it. Now it might not be as efficient as Tom Brady would be, but I think he can get over 285 easily.
I'm actually going on the under for Jared Goff because I think that the Rams are relying on the running game against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like CJ Anderson, Todd Gurley have more opportunities in that game other than, I don't know, who's playing for the Rams. This is Brandon Cooks. I mean, he's the deep threat, but how often are you going to go deep against the Patriots? Not that often.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's more of a running game matchup for the Rams, so I'm going under for Jared Goff on this one, so under 285.5. Now we're actually going to Todd Gurley this time. I was one ahead. before with the rushing yards there. The over-under for Todd Gurley, which kind of surprises me, is 63.5 yards for the entire game, rushing alone. Odds are -110 as well.
I gotta do another over. That's too low for Todd Gurley, in my opinion. That's way too low. So I'm gonna go over on that one.
Yeah, like I said, I'm expecting a big game by both running backs or at least a lot of opportunities for the running backs for LA, both CJ Anderson and Todd Gurley. And I believe if Todd Gurley gets a gap, he can do 20, 30 yards in one rush alone. And the Patriots, yeah, they did all right against the rush, I'd say, at least in the playoffs. But I mean, against a running back like Todd Gurley, you're going to have a tough time with that. So, like you said, 63.5 kind of seems low to me as well. So, I'm also going with the over. And the other running back for the New England Patriots this time, over under 77.5 yards, Sony Michel, -110.
Geez. He's one of those running backs where you want to count him low, but he'll always go up high. But here's the thing: he's going up against Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh on the front lines. So I think for this one, I'm going to go under on this one, just because you have Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh on the front lines, just for that sole reason right there, because they can get in the way of almost any running back.
Yeah, I'm also going on the under there, and mainly also because of Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald, and that front four by the Rams, which is doing well against the pass, and they kind of struggle against the rush. But if you're looking at that Saints game, I mean, they kept Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara in check so well that I don't believe that the Patriots will have a good time running the ball. And another reason is the Patriots have 3 good running backs in their backfield. It's not only Sony Michel. They have James White. They have Rex Burkhead. They can hand off the ball to a lot of different guys. It's not only Sony Michel. And if you know Bill Belichick, he's going to rotate these players there to keep them fresh and get a new player in every couple of snaps to give the other guy a couple of snaps rest to get back in the game a little bit later to be at the full potential at running back. So I'm also going on the under. And the last side bet, sorry, it's a fun one and an unusual bet. It will be the jersey number for the player who scores the first touchdown in the game. We have over under 26.5. The over is at odds of -140. The under is at +120.
All right. So, all right, for the Patriots, I got number 87 scoring for the first time, Rob Gronkowski. And for the Rams, I got Todd Gurley. I think they're going to get right onto the within the 10-yard line, and then he's just going to run up the middle. So I got Gronkowski to score first for the Patriots, and then Todd Gurley to score first for the Rams.
So that's the over for both of them, with 87 for Gronkowski and 32 for Todd Gurley. Either way, it's the over for Josh. I actually think that the first player in the Super Bowl who will score a touchdown is under 26.5. Because if it is the Rams, I believe they are going to try to attack the Rams deep at the beginning of the game, which would be Brandon Cooks with number 12. And I could actually see number 12 for the Patriots scoring as well on the first drive with a short 1-yard quarterback sneak over the top by a 41-year-old Tom Brady. So I'm going with the underdog bet with the under 26.5.
Yeah.
So that's our Super Bowl 53 side bets right here. I don't know if you want to take our advice on betting on these kind of things.
Tell you what, let's do the coin toss. Let's do the coin toss just for fun.
Let's go with the opening coin toss. Will it be heads or will it be tails?
I'm gonna give it heads. It's gonna be heads.
I'm going with tails.
Yay, some of us are gonna be right.
But just a quick disclaimer: if you're betting on all of them, if you're doing a six-fold bet on that, don't blame it on us. We're not accountable for anything.
We went to Las Vegas one time. We don't know gambling.
We're not reimbursing your losses.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're winning, we're taking a cut if you want to.
The Third Down Squad merch. Use your winnings on the Third Down Squad merch. Link in the description.
Yeah, link in the description. They're available in the US and in Europe.
All right, you can't have a Super Bowl show without our Super Bowl predictions. So, Toby, who's going to win the Super Bowl and why?
I'm actually gonna go with the Rams, and my thinking is, first off, they played so well against the run against New Orleans that I can't see the New England Patriots running backs, like I said before, producing much. And then you have that defensive line with Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald, all the other guys, which are, I mean, they are all at least Pro Bowl caliber defensive linemen, all four of them. Mm-hmm. And I think they can get to Tom Brady. I mean, the offensive line play by the Patriots in the playoffs was phenomenal, and nobody was getting to Tom Brady. But if you're playing against that level of ability to get through offensive lines like the Rams players have, it's difficult to ignore that, and I believe they are gonna knock down Tom Brady a couple of times in this game, if it's for a sack or just to kind of give him the impression that, hey, dude, we're here. You gotta watch out for us, and kind of not make him uncomfortable in the pocket, not knowing, okay, is somebody coming through on my blind side, and kind of keeping the ball maybe a little bit longer in his hands because he's unsure and not thinking that quickly. I believe that will be a factor for it. And if you're looking at it, if you bring pressure on Tom Brady, he is not the same player that he is when he's not rushed at all. And I think that's the two things that is speaking for the Rams. And of course, if they can keep Tom Brady clean and off the ground, the Patriots have a good chance of winning it. But you just have to look at the Super Bowl last year. The Eagles weren't rushing Tom Brady a lot, and the Patriots scored 33 points, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. And the Eagles still managed to win it because of a great offensive play calling and a lot of great offensive plays and trick plays as well, which the Rams do have as well, and they have talent on offense. So even if the defensive line is not performing that well, if they can play good on offense, the Rams still have a chance to win. So I'm giving it to the Rams this time. So Josh, your thoughts on the game, your prediction?
I think it's going to be a good game, without a doubt. It's not going to be like Super Bowl 48 where the Broncos just got manhandled by only scoring 8 points against that Seattle defense. Yeah. But I think that the Patriots are going to win this one. And I know people are like booing me. I can hear it in the comment section right now. But you got to hear me out on this one. For me, it's more of experience, where everybody on the New England Patriots team, aside from the rookies, has been there before. And I'd trust Belichick and Brady more over McVay and Goff. That's not to take anything away from those two, but this is their first Super Bowl. And it could be pretty big for both of them. So, and I mean, you just got to like Tom Brady in this sense. I mean, sure, people have their dislikes with him and all that, but he is a field general out there. He will, like, remember when the Falcons had that 28-3 lead And Tom Brady's like, no,
Yeah.
not anymore. I think that's what's going to happen again. But the defense for the Patriots has seemed pretty sound lately. I mean, they still have a lot to work on, but I mean, in that last game, you're going up against Mahomes, who is by far one of the best quarterbacks this year and potentially of the next 10 years. But I just trust Tom Brady more than I would trust Jared Goff in this situation right now. I mean, it's pretty simple, but like the Rams are going to put up a fight. Don't get me wrong, but the Patriots just have a wider variety of running backs. So if one doesn't work, they can just send them into the slot receiver and have James White or Rex Burkhead or Sony Michelle, whoever is up next, be the running back. See if they can get something going. So yeah, that's what I got for the Patriots right there. Just the running game has to work out, and Tom Brady's going to work out fine.
All right. And just to complete our predictions, I texted with Derek just before the podcast. His predictions is as well that the Patriots will win the Super Bowl. And actually, one more prediction for the Super Bowl. Josh, who do you think will be the Super Bowl MVP?
Tom Brady.
All right. Just to clarify, Derek has that as well. I'm I'm going with Aaron Donald. I think the Rams will win the Super Bowl and Aaron Donald will be the Super Bowl MVP. And I just believe that he's going through that offensive line by the Patriots and gonna sack Tom Brady a couple of times. I believe he will be over 2 sacks in this game, which doesn't happen often against the Patriots. But I believe Aaron Donald can do that in this game. So, yeah, that's it for our Super Bowl 53 predictions. It's a shorter podcast this week because, as y'all know, we're missing one member of the third down squad.
Yep.
So
he's all right. He's all right. He's not dead or anything.
He's all right. He's just gonna take care of a couple of things. And he will be back next week on the next episode. But for now, that's it with the podcast, with the Super Bowl 53 edition. Thanks so much, Josh, for joining me today.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys next week on the podcast. And like and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify.
Subscribe to PewDiePie.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.
See ya.